Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to you. In this explainer, we're going to dive into a really profound passage from the Quran, verses 14 through 20 of Surah Al Imran. And you know, these verses get right to the heart of a timeless human struggle. That pull between the beautiful but fleeting attractions of this world and the promise of something everlasting. So, let's get into it.
So, the whole thing kicks off with a question that, honestly, all of us have probably asked ourselves at some point. What's the ultimate prize in life? What are we really working towards? This is the big question that's going to guide us through this entire passage.
So where does the Quran even start with this? Well, what's really interesting is that it doesn't start with condemnation or judgment. It starts with a deep, honest acknowledgement of the things in this life that are just naturally beautiful and attractive to us. And look at the specific language here in verse 14. It says the love for these things has been beautified for people. It's not saying it's bad. It's saying it's made to look beautiful. You see things like family, women and sons. You've got wealth, piles of gold and silver. And then there are things that, back in 7th century Arabia were the ultimate status symbols: fine branded horses, cattle, and farmland. The key insight here is that these desires aren't treated as evil. They're recognized as a very real, very powerful part of being human.
And this right here is the crucial point that reframes everything. After listing all these things we're drawn to, the verse ends with this powerful reminder. All of that, it's just the temporary enjoyment of worldly life. And then comes the big pivot, the promise that the best return, the real prize, is found with God.
So that contrast, that tension, perfectly sets up what's coming next. The passage shifts gears from what we desire right here, right now, to a direct comparison with what's being offered in the next life, basically presenting us with a massive choice.
The text literally asks you, it speaks right to the reader, shall I inform you of something better than that? It's such a great rhetorical move, right? It's designed to grab your attention. After acknowledging everything you love, it says, okay, but what if I told you there's something infinitely better?
And this comparison just lays it all out so clearly. On the one hand, you have the temporary pleasures of this world, but on the other, you have eternal gardens. You have earthly family versus purified spouses. But check out that last row. That's the absolute game changer. Worldly status and property are put up against God's approval, or ridwan. The passage makes it crystal clear that this approval is the greatest reward there is, way beyond any material thing you can imagine.
So this all begs the question, right? Who are these people who actually get this incredible reward? Well, the next few verses shift focus to paint this really vivid picture of their character, their actions, their habits.
And their identity starts with their inner state, which is just perfectly captured in this prayer. It's a mindset of total humility. They're not bragging about their good deeds. They're immediately turning to God, confirming their belief, and just asking for forgiveness and protection. All their hope is placed entirely in God's mercy.
Then verse 17 gives us this incredible portrait, these 5 key qualities that are all connected. You have these foundational character traits: being patient, being truthful, being obedient. Then, those inner qualities naturally flow into outward action, like being charitable. And it all culminates in this deep personal connection with God, seeking His forgiveness in those quiet early morning hours before dawn. I mean, what a beautifully balanced picture of what faith in action looks like.
So what's holding all of this together? What's the foundation for all these qualities and actions? Well, it all comes down to one core, non-negotiable belief. The passage now moves to the very heart of the Islamic faith.
Wow, this is such a powerful statement. The first, the primary witness to the oneness of God, is God Himself. The testimony doesn't start with some human argument or a prophetic claim. It begins with a direct testimony from the Creator. And look who joins in on this testimony. You've got the angels, and then, and this is amazing, those of knowledge. That gives this incredible status to learned people, to scholars, placing their testimony right alongside that of the angels, all of it confirming God's primary testimony. It's a profound statement that true faith isn't meant to be blind. It's deeply rooted in knowledge and understanding.
So this core idea has a name, of course. It's Tawheed. It is the absolute central pillar of Islam. And the religion's name itself, Islam, literally means submission. Submission to this one God. This one concept is the foundation for everything else we've been talking about.
Okay, so you've laid it all out. The choice between 2 different lives, the qualities of the faithful, the core testimony of faith. Now what?
How are you supposed to engage with people who might disagree or argue with you? Well, the final verses give a very clear instruction.
The instruction given to the prophet, and really to all believers, isn't to get tangled up in endless debates you can't win. Instead, the response is simple, it's clear, and it's personal. It's just a declaration of faith. I have submitted. My path is clear. It's a statement of conviction, not one of aggression.
And this really gets to a core principle for believers, doesn't it? The duty is to share the message, clearly and respectfully. But the verse makes a point to say you can't force belief on anyone. Ultimately, guidance is in God's hands alone. The idea is one of invitation, not coercion.
So after this whole journey, after laying out the entire argument, the passage concludes by turning the tables and posing a simple, direct question to every single person. Have you submitted? And that is the question this explainer leaves us with, a personal call for each of us to reflect on where we stand when faced with this timeless choice.